Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola, mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006.
Hola, bienvenidos a Discapacidad Televisión. Recuerda suscribirte para no perderte los últimos estrenos y programas en vivo. Danos un me gusta y así nos ayudarás a conocerte mejor. Por favor, no te olvides de compartir, así más personas podrán disfrutar de Discapacidad Televisión y toda su programación. Muchas gracias.
Esto es Dominicana.
Playas donde solo escuchas tu eco.
Mar.
Comida.
Mar.
Surf. Gente buena.
Ron.
Montañas que rompen el océano.
Los que vinimos por 10 días y ya llevamos 10 años.
Los que vinimos por hacer y nos quedamos por amor.
Mesas, bares
Hoteles.
y hostales.
En Dominicana, no importa por qué viniste.
Aquí lo único que importa es por qué te quedaste y si quieres volver.
Y que al recordarnos sonrías sin querer.
Dominicana es su gente.
Dominicana.
Dominicana te sonríe.
Still a thing.
Porque seguimos comprometidos con la inclusión.
Reconocemos la importancia de la lengua de señas y el aporte de la comunidad sorda en nuestra cultura.
Porque las lenguas de señas nos unen.
En América Latina y el Caribe hay 70 millones de personas con discapacidad. La falta de infraestructura accesible es una de las barreras que enfrentan. Desde el BID promovemos la inclusión laboral de personas con discapacidad, el fortalecimiento institucional en temas relacionados y el desarrollo de estándares de accesibilidad universal en la infraestructura. Un ejemplo es el Programa de Sustentabilidad y Eficiencia del Sector Eléctrico en República Dominicana, donde se desarrolló una política de inclusión laboral. También se construirán baños accesibles gracias al Programa de Gestión Integral de Residuos Sólidos Urbanos en Argentina. y en Brasil se han capacitado a conductores de autobuses para atender a sus usuarios, garantizando la accesibilidad a las estaciones y el espacio público. Además, hemos desarrollado una guía de servicio inclusivo para personas con discapacidad y otras publicaciones en transporte, agua y energía. Estamos haciendo camino hacia una región más inclusiva.
Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006. A continuación, Footless, más allá de una amputación. Presenta EE.UU BECKWITH. Características de este programa. Audio en inglés, subtítulos en castellano.
Come here often? No? If not, do you want to? I think it'd be cool if we hung out. Hello there, my beautiful, lovely internet friends. Let's doodle, let's draw, and talk about overcoming medical gaslighting. Bear with me, I'll explain, it's gonna be a good time. I also tape my microphone to my water bottle, and I don't know how well that's gonna work. We'll find out together. So I had a stroke with some pretty severe symptoms, and I did not go to the ER, A, because I wasn't thinking straight, but B, because of really awful experiences with doctors and medical professionals over the years that taught me to think I was crazy, I was a burden, I was a problem. And I don't use this term lightly. There was a good deal of medical gaslighting that has occurred. If you're specifically a woman in our healthcare system, you might know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I almost died because I didn't want another doctor to make me feel crazy, and I also didn't want to be an inconvenience. So let's talk a little bit about that and some recommendations and change of attitude that I've had in the aftermath. Also, we're gonna color in a little doodle. I just realized that the camera that I set up to film me doodling while we're talking was not on the entire time. So if you like that idea for a format of a video, let me know. I'll get it set up and actually hit record the next time. If you're new to my channel or you don't know me, I'm missing a leg. See? Proof, it's gone. And in addition to that, I have spent so many years of my life in medical offices due to neurological issues, chronic migraine, kidney problems, along with a sprinkling of a few other things. I've had 20 odd surgeries. I am quite familiar with doctors' offices and ER rooms and hospital beds. And for a while there, I thought I was handling it well, right? Like, it's not fun stuff to go through. But I started out at like age 13 on this medical journey, having a deep respect for doctors and nurses. They are people in positions of authority. They save lives. For the record, I do still have a lot of respect, but that did get shaken for a little while because the older that I got and the more experiences that I had in our medical system, I think I became somewhat traumatized. I don't like using that word often, but by some of the experiences that I had and the ways that I was dismissed and made to feel like a problem and made to feel like I was crazy. Medical gaslighting is a term that we're hearing a little bit more often. I'm going to put a recommendation for a book down below that my friend Alana wrote all about it. But especially as a woman, it can be rather difficult to get care that you deserve. I find it really hard to talk about medical gaslighting because it is so nuanced. So I want to talk about why the effects of the words and actions of doctors who were trying to help me did actually almost kill me twice. I think a good example of medical gaslighting would be when I was in the hospital. I had my leg cut off for the second time, and there was a drain in my leg and other complications, and I was told the day before, when my then husband was present, they were going to do a quick procedure to get it out. It was going to be very painful. They would make sure that I was medicated ahead of time. Don't worry about it. We got you covered. And then I was woken up at like 6:30 or 7 by two doctors being like, all right, we're doing this. And I was very confused because I had told that there would be help because it'd be very painful. They told me they didn't have time for it. It was very painful. And when I expressed that I was upset about this because I had been told something very different, the doctor who had told me the day before the plan told me, no, I never said that. I mean, you're on a lot of drugs right now. So just completely told me that I never heard what I heard because they did not have time to properly implement the medical plan and tried to make me feel like I was just unstable. Checkmate. mate, buddy. Someone else was in the room both times and called them out pretty hard on it. There have also been quite a few situations where I have had to go to the ER for various kinds of pain and very much been treated like I was drug seeking for recreational or addiction kind of purposes, which if you look at my chart made no sense because I had so much access to opioids right at home. If I wanted those, I had them. There was another situation, and this was like the worst because I was in such a fragile mental state and in so much pain and sick, where I had a kidney infection. I had not gone in for it. I waited way too long because I didn't want to deal with doctors treating me like garbage in the ER, treating me like just like a crazy woman, like, oh, abdominal pain. Okay, well, guess you're on your period. Don't need to be here. So I didn't go in, and I was almost septic. It was a very bad kidney infection. Doctors and nurses alike berated me for waiting so long and then made it very clear, if this gets worse, you need to come back. So it got worse. I came back, and I remember it was a different doctor, walked into the room, like heavy sigh. I think he took my temperature and no other vitals and was like, you've already had a CT scan. If I give you another, you're gonna get cancer. I don't know what you want me to do for you. I promise you, I am not exaggerating that interaction, and I don't like to cry in front of doctors, but I did in that situation because I was scared, I was in pain, I had been told what I was dealing with was serious, and I was so dismissed. And those are just like small examples of some of the many experiences that I've had. So let's talk about the big one, having a stroke. When the stroke occurred on the jiu-jitsu mats, and if you want to know more about what happened, I made a video, I will link it up above or down below. I was violently not okay. Like really have never felt that way in my life. Very scary. Someone should have called an ambulance for me, but they did not. And I just went home to wait it out because I thought it must just be, I don't know, my body. I'm crazy, right? Like, I'm sure I'm fine. And that is also a byproduct of having so many health issues for so many years, many of which haven't had explanations for a very long time. And I waited at home for, I actually don't remember how long it was. It was at least a day. I think it was more than that. So deeply not okay, so dizzy, I couldn't pick things up. Forming words was really difficult. I was so out of it. I was in so much pain. But the idea of going into an ER and having doctors like shrug me off again, because I was certain that that is what was going to happen because I've had so many experiences of that. The idea of that was so awful to me that I sat at home with holes in my brain, less okay than I've ever like neurologically been in my life, and vehemently did not want to go in. Eventually, I scheduled a virtual urgent care because I just wanted them to tell me like, yeah, it's probably a migraine. You're fine. Go take a nap. And the doctor that I spoke with was really great and was like, hey, I'm gonna need you to log off this call, do not drive yourself, and get immediately to an emergency room. So I agreed, knowing that I was just going to be an inconvenience to the doctors there because everything's fine. And long story short, turns out I had a stroke to the back of my brain and was immediately put in the ICU. It was quite an experience. Now, since that has occurred, there have been a few other times where I have chosen to go into the ER because symptoms shifted violently, and I did not know if it was just like leftovers from the stroke, if it was just a rough day and things were aggravated, or if I was having a brain bleed or another stroke. And what really shifted for me, and the perspective that I wanted to share with you today, is that it's okay to inconvenience people who are doing their job. I so didn't want to be a problem to doctors. I so didn't want them to make me feel like I was a crazy person. But it became clear to me that saving my life was more important than those needs. And also that I wasn't doing a good job of like loving myself and advocating for myself. Also, I thought I would have more of this doodle done, but I think I get to talking and I slow at drawing anyways. Treating patients like they are an inconvenience and like they are crazy because you don't immediately know the answer has lifelong effects. And the combined number of doctors that have treated me that way over the years really created a mental block in my brain where first with the kidney infection years ago and then with the stroke now, I was in very dangerous situations that I told myself I was just crazy for thinking were even an issue. I think that patient-doctor communication desperately needs to improve, and I am well aware of the fact that the system is to blame for so much of this. I have a lot of good friends now who are medical professionals, whether they're nurses, doctors, or PAs, and it has been very eye-opening to hear about things from their perspective, like what they deal with in the friggin' system. But to those of us who are not medical professionals, I just wanted to urge you to be an inconvenience, that the idea of being an inconvenience, or even having someone make you feel like you're not right in the head, or you're crazy, or you're overreacting, or you're hysterical, or you're just on your period. That stuff feels awful. It creates complexes and bits of trauma, at least in my brain, but it is absolutely worth it to still go in if you think there could be an issue. And it is okay to advocate for yourself in those situations and state your needs. Whatever your reason is for waiting, if you think your life could be in danger, please don't. If I had gone in sooner, the deficits that it left me with wouldn't have been as severe. And sitting at home alone for days, having had a stroke and a lot going on neurologically, was not the right choice. I wasn't thinking straight anyways, right? Hospitals are there for a reason. Treatment needs to change across the board. Our system needs to get better, and I will happily fight for that because man, oh man. All of that to say, if you think that something is going on with your body, please, as you are able to, I know there's a lot of factors, but don't wait. Don't wait because you think you're an inconvenience. Don't wait if you just think you're crazy and overreacting if something could actually be going on. I believe it is always better to get that confirmed one way or another, and as time has gone on, I've really lost the shame that I had about going into an ER when I think something could actually be wrong, because guess what? It's my body. I am paying for that medical care, and it is better to be safe than sorry when you are talking about your life on the line. Hope that made sense. We did not get a lot of drawing done. I expected to complete the whole page. I'm gonna go rest. I'm gonna take the puppies out for a little bit, and then probably nap again if we're being honest. We're snowed in today, which is kind of cozy.
Talk about pregnancy as an amputee. Right off the bat, no, I am not pregnant. Thank goodness. Let's clear the air on that. But as I logged on to YouTube to just, mindlessly binge watch some videos this afternoon, I saw that Mama Dr. Jones, which is a channel that I follow, she seems absolutely delightful. I really like her videos. Check her out. Just posted an interview with Rebecca Gregory, who is a Boston marathon bombing survivor and was pregnant as an amputee. Now, I have not watched this video, but I'm very excited to because I've never really talked to anyone about pregnancy as an amputee. I was already terrified of pregnancy. I don't want kids, but being pregnant while also dealing with a prosthetic and all of that, oh God, I have a lot of questions and a lot of curiosities. And so I'm so excited to go through this with you today. But first, a quick word from our delightful, lovely sponsor who I love working with. I am absolutely thrilled to be able to introduce you to our sponsor today. You guessed it, Ana Luisa Jewelry. I absolutely love being able to tell you about Ana Luisa, especially as we are in the midst of the holiday season and everyone's looking for gifts for people. Their exceptional quality is something I can personally attest to because I got this over a year ago. I've worn it quite a bit. It is just as lovely and sparkly and comfortable as it was the day I got it. They honestly have fair prices with no luxury markup, with prices starting around $39. And one of my favorite things about them is that they are all about sustainability. All of their jewelry is carbon neutral, meaning that they offset 100% of their carbon emissions, starting with sourcing of their raw materials all the way to the disposal of the pieces. For me personally, one of my favorite things about Ana Luisa jewelry is that it helps me feel pretty and feminine and lovely, even if I'm just hanging out at home in a sweatshirt. Their pieces aren't too gaudy and they also aren't too simple. They always make me feel lovely and complete my outfits, whether I'm chilling at home in a hoodie and athletic shorts shown off camera, or if I want to get super fancy and dressed up and go out on a date as soon as quarantine is over. Completely random side note, I also really like the clasps that they use for their necklaces in particular. I have a hard time with tiny motor movements sometimes, and opening up necklace clasps is something I think everyone struggles with, but theirs are ridiculously easy and I can actually do it on my own and it doesn't hurt my fingers. If you yourself are a jewelry person or you know someone in your life who you're looking for a lovely gift for, please check out the link linked down below. Ana Luisa is an absolutely fantastic company. I love being able to work with them and I love being able to tell you about them. I'll let you in on a secret. If you look at many of my recent videos or my live streams, you'll pretty much always see me wearing either their earrings or a necklace or something like that. So I honestly wear them just about every day right now at home. Check them out, link down below, and please let me know what you think. Without further ado, let's get to it. I call this look chic comfort. I got up and got dressed this morning with just this turtleneck and my pretty jewelry, and I was like, yeah, I look good. And then I got tired of that and wanted to be cozy, so I stole my husband's sweatshirt. Don't tell him. But a few of the things that I'm curious about are the weight gain that comes with carrying another human inside of you and wearing prosthetics. Gaining any kind of weight, even a few pounds, honestly, can make prosthetics change how they fit you, can become uncomfortable, or can no longer fit anymore. So that's something I've always been freaked out about. Balance on a prosthetic leg, when your center of balance is totally different. Also, probably on a pretty inconsequential side note, I've often wondered if women who are giving birth as amputees wear their prosthesis during giving birth. I'm assuming the answer is no, but I'm kind of curious. Full disclosure, like I said, I have never been pregnant, not something I currently plan on ever being. Who knows? And thus, pregnancy is something I only know about through stories of my friends and walking alongside them and things of that nature. So I am really no expert, and I'm looking forward to learning.
Let's jump into a little bit about your pregnancies. I know you have Noah, who was there with you that day, and then now you have another daughter as well?
I do, Riley.
They're so cute.
So tell me, what were some of the differences before and after, you know, the bombing and as well as losing your leg, about the differences in your pregnancies?
Well, the big thing was that doctors told me after the bombing, I spent 56 days in the hospital initially, and one of the things they said is, Rebecca, I'm so sorry, based on your internal injuries, we don't believe that you will ever be able to have another baby again. In 2015, I was doing pretty well. I had just gotten married and to my college sweetheart, and we really, really wanted a baby. And it came as kind of a surprise because I didn't think that I would be able to have one.
Oh, wow.
And so we went to the doctor, and sure enough, she said, you're pregnant. It was just a really amazing time because I thought to myself, you know, in 2013, I was 3 feet from a bomb that should have killed both my son and I. And here I am in this new, beautiful life, and I get to have another baby.
So I'm just like a little bit teared up. That's absolutely beautiful and a miracle.
Did the pregnancy end up being more complicated, or what would you highlight as some of the things that made it different than being pregnant before all of this?
So the whole one leg thing makes it interesting. And I have to be really careful. I think one of the things as far as like gaining weight.
Okay, so that's always been one of my biggest fears too, is that as an amputee, if you gain weight, your legs don't fit the same way anymore. And beyond that, specifically with your center of balance being changed and your body constantly changing, from my understanding, using any kind of prosthetics become really difficult.
Even a couple of pounds, my leg fits differently. And because of pregnancy and swelling and other issues that I already have to think about that a lot. I was still trying to be active. Exercise is a big part of my life, but it was hard. I mean, it was painful on my leg. I know that I was probably out of my leg more oftentimes than I was in it. It was tough. There were a lot of things that were easy too. I mean, my pregnancy in general for the first couple of months went by really seamlessly. Even though I was high risk, I was having more doctor's appointments. All in all, it was really, really good.
With regards to the prosthetic leg, I haven't had a lot of patients who have been pregnant with that, but I've had a few. I would say the biggest problem that we would run into is difficulties with fitting. Even if you gain a normal amount of weight, there's some swelling in pregnancy that's very common. Did you have any problems with mobility towards the end because of problems with the prosthetic, or were you able to tackle that?
I was able to tackle that, and I owe a lot of that to my doctors, my prosthetists, because they were, you know, really, really mindful of the fact that they wanted me to be as comfortable as possible. So I would encourage anyone who's an amputee and has a prosthetic leg or two, to really just go into your prosthetist as often as you can if you have any sort of issue, because a minor tweak is a really, really big thing when you're an amputee.
So that makes a lot of sense. Sometimes it's the tiniest little things, like they'll shave a little bit extra off your socket, they'll put a little pad in there, and it looks like it wouldn't make any difference because it's so minuscule, but it makes walking actually bearable or comfortable. A caveat that I've wondered about is these appointments aren't free, generally speaking, and so if you're someone who's copay for those appointments or is paying out of pocket, it would make it really difficult to be able to have a leg that fits during pregnancy. Thankfully, currently I and the amputees I immediately know have medical coverage, but not everybody does. So I'm really glad that this was something she was able to do, because it sounds like that was a huge determining factor in being able to actually stay active and stay moving during pregnancy. Also, this comfortable chic thing sounded like a good idea because I was cold, but now I'm really warm. So outfit change.
At the 7-month mark, I started to develop a really just small back pain, and it wasn't even painful. It was just this feeling that something might not be right. I told my husband, I said, I'm getting a little bit of pain in my back. I think we might need to go get this checked out. My doctor, we called her, and immediately she said, absolutely, go to the hospital right now. I'll meet you. And it ended up being me going into preterm labor. And we would have had no idea, but my doctor was very, very good about making sure to go to the hospital and get checked out.
So any mothers out there, please let me know if you feel like sharing, but something that I've always thought would be so disorienting about pregnancy and giving birth is obviously the fact you don't know when it's going to happen, right? But especially when you're not expecting it for weeks, to go into the hospital with some back pain and then come out with a baby. That seems like it would be so jarring. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about that the wrong way, but that's crazy that her doctor caught that and was like, yes, go to the hospital, and then she was actually in labor.
Did they think that because of your presentation? I'm wondering if maybe the amputation itself had anything to do with their concern with that, because we do get a little bit worried about venous stasis and circulation issues in some of our amputee patients. But is that ended up being what it was, or was it something different?
Sometimes I'm like a guinea pig to people because they don't often know what to do with me. I mean, I have all of this shrapnel in my body. Of course, when I fill out my medical forms, it's, I got blown up by a bomb in 2013. So they kind of chalked it up to my injuries from that.
I think it's really interesting that she brings that up, because there are some heightened concerns with things like circulation as an amputee. They're just health issues your doctor needs to be aware of, like your doctor needs to know that you're an amputee, and you should be aware of as well.
There was this one particular doctor who had absolutely no bedside manner. I'm in a bed and they're telling me the worst possible thing, and she's basically telling me that I'm going to die and my daughter's going to die too. It was just the way it was presented to me. I appreciate upfront honesty. This was more of just very brash. It is what it is. If your daughter comes today, she's gonna die.
So that's something I don't understand about bedside manner or not. I've had really good doctors and I've had not awesome doctors, and I also appreciate when people are blunt and upfront with me about like, here's what you're facing, here are your choices. But for someone to take the tone of like, you're gonna die and your kid's gonna die, it just what it is. That's no way for someone to be able to get through something. Like, obviously that's the most disheartening or discouraging thing that you can hear. Rebecca, I'm really sorry that was said to you. Bedside manner really does matter, and it's not about lying to people or lying to patients or trying to make them feel better. I think it's about how you present often really difficult information.
It was crazy because I ended up getting her out in 14 and a half minutes.
Wow. Did you push a lot longer than that with no?
This was pretty quick. I can't remember exactly how long. It was a lot more than 14 and a half minutes.
Not that fast. Was there any difference between delivery, before your amputation and after, or was it pretty much the same?
It was pretty much the same, except my husband is so funny because during all of this, I mean, it was very stressful and everyone was sad. We had nurses crying and giving me hugs, and it was so funny because I'll never forget this one moment where I couldn't feel, when they gave me my epidural, I couldn't feel my legs at all, obviously. And so, but I was so uncomfortable because of the phantom pain that I was experiencing too. And so it was a really weird dynamic between the two.
Oh, that's so weird.
And so I was trying to get up in the bed to be able to kind of like move a little to try to get more comfortable. And I said to the nurses, I said, I can't feel my legs. And my husband, without skipping a beat, he said, you ain't got no legs.
Humor is the best way of coping with a lot of things.
Was your recovery any different after the birth than you remembered it being with Noah, or was it about the same?
It was about the same. I mean, the biggest thing is that, not having a leg. I couldn't put my leg on right away after giving birth because of the swelling. So it took a little bit of time to do that. So just the inconveniences of getting in the wheelchair.
That's a really interesting point. I didn't really fully think about that. Once you have the kid, your body is still changed. Like, you're dealing with swelling or dealing with some weight gain still, and not being able to use a leg when you're used to generally being able to use a leg as you have a newborn, that's gotta be a real challenge. That sounds really difficult. Like, I get frustrated if I can't wear my leg for half the day because of swelling or pain. But the idea of not having a leg that's either comfortable or reliable, or you just can't get on as you're going through this, like, that's difficult.
The everyday things that I think amputees have to deal with that are not necessarily normal, but they're normal to us now, one-leggers. So it was just that, but really, I mean, all in all, it was pretty easy.
So for starters, as I said, Rebecca's story is incredible. I followed her on social media for quite some time. We've exchanged like one set of messages back and forth, so I don't think I can call us friends, but I mean, like, Rebecca, if you're watching this and you want to be friends, I mean, it'd be cool. I think you're pretty awesome. Be cool, Joe, be cool. But what struck me from the amputee perspective watching this is it sounds like, yes, there were some things that were different, there were some complications, but that's kind of just life as an amputee. There are always going to be like small difficulties or adjustments or things that are just different, right? Things you have to figure out an adjustment for, and it sounds like pregnancy is very much the same way. I'll be honest, after watching this, I almost feel, like I said, I never want to have kids, especially biological ones, but if for whatever reason that ever happened, I do feel a little bit more reassured that maybe it wouldn't be the end of the world. Can you tell that I'm fairly terrified of pregnancy and children? Yes. Not children, childbirth. I'm not generally terrified of kids, but some are frightening for sure. So I've linked Mama Dr. Jones's channel down below. I've also linked Rebecca's TikTok. That's where I know her from. She is delightful. Her videos are absolutely hilarious. I aspire to one day be as funny as her and her husband. Their skits are amazing. As you know from a video ago, I got my running blade. This little puppy right here. By the way, she still does not have a name. So sad. Please join our live stream details on screen to help me name her next week. However, now that I can actually practice and start using her some, I wanted to take her to a local high school track. I think I can get in. I'm actually not sure. We're gonna find out and do some practicing, do some playing around on my own. I haven't had much time yet to actually just sort of play around and see what I can do, so we're gonna head there right now. All right, I gotta make sure I remember my single running shoe, which is working out fantastically, by the way. Now, I've mentioned this before, but it is about 50 degrees outside, which is not terribly cold, don't get me wrong. However, it is a little bit chilly. I've not been able to find a way to wear pants yet, so I'm probably gonna be a little cold today. We probably won't spend too much time outside, but let's go do this. Okay, friends, we have just arrived. I need to head down to the track. It's looking pretty deserted here, which I feel like is a good sign for me. There are no indoor tracks in like all of Colorado Springs, so deserted high school tracks sounds like a good idea. So on the way over here, I had an idea. I've mentioned my dad before and how he's into jogging. He's really supported this whole journey that I've been on. And I just thought I'd give him a call and see if he had a few free moments from work. So he's actually gonna come join me here and watch me run for the first time. Oh, that was a little loud, I'm sorry, but I am very excited. So he's gonna stop by and you guys are gonna meet him in just a moment. But first, I'm gonna go get set up, warm up some, get this party started. There's literally no one else here, which is ideal because, I mean, I'm cool trying new things in front of people, but also if I'm not running for one of the first times ever on my own with a random audience, I'm good with that. Random tidbit from my history. I remember playing a game of soccer on that field right there. I didn't go to public high school, as you know. I was a homeschool kid, but I did participate in some sporting activities, and that was one of them. So I think my big goal for today is really just to see like what feels good, what feels natural, what doesn't feel good, what feels super unnatural. When I was practicing with Annika, I realized that my upper body felt really, really tense and really abnormal, and like I woke up the next day with shoulder pain, which is just, that's not what you expect from running, right? And so I'm looking to kind of see if I can pay attention to that tension in my back and shoulders and kind of let it go, maybe run more naturally. I don't think that's gonna happen in one day, but one can hope. So those first little steps that I'm taking on my blade, it's ridiculous how bouncy I feel. So I think I'm gonna start by a lot of warm-up. I've been told that warming up is like half of running, apparently, little did I know, to really get like the blood moving and really see how it feels, so I'm not rushing into anything. Also, it's shockingly warm out. I don't even need this. Thank you, Colorado in December. I can tell you one thing for sure. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned this before, but I had knee surgery on this knee a number of years ago, and it never really fully healed. I've done physical therapy on it previously, but then when I was on the iWalk for like 9 months straight, it definitely aggravated whatever was going on with it anyways, and my knee has been fine over the last year, but I've also not done a lot to strengthen it, and I definitely feel that now. Like it feels it feels weak and tight and a little bit painful, so I'm gonna have to be really careful with my knee. You're out of breath, it means you're warmed up, right? Or does it mean you're out of shape? I'm not sure, but I think I am warmed up, and I think it's time we give jogging a shot. My hair is just not complying today. We're gonna have French braided into submission. I'm not sure if this is normal if you're new to running. My runner friends out there, please let me know. But it feels like I feel the impact in my whole body. I'm not sure if that's because I'm running wrong or because my joints aren't used to it. Maybe a little bit of both. So I'm gonna try some things. We're gonna play around a little bit. So I just watched some of the playback of my tape. It's messy. It's messy, but it just means we have a good starting point to improve from. I mean, if I was already amazing at running, it would be a disappointing process trying to get better because it'd be that much harder. So it's good that I'm kind of terrible now. I like that logic. Would you like to say hello to my audience?
Hello, audience.
This is my dad. You may remember one of my goals has been to be able to go jogging with my dad because my dad here jogged all throughout the time I was growing up, and I could never really go with him past the age of like 13.
We went for walks. But
yeah, but no
jogs.
No jogging. But that is changing
Look
now.
forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So the furthest I've been able to go so far is like, I don't know, like, what is that, like 100 meters? 100 yards. I'm gonna see if I can make it all the way around without stopping, without hurting myself.
Get set.
I fall before it starts.
On your mark.
Okay.
Get set. Go.
Oh, that was a beautiful start.
Oh, yeah. Just ripping. Well, that was a good 150.
So I just made it about, I think exactly halfway around. I made it from like the 50-yard line on this side, which I don't think most tracks have, to the 50-yard line on that side. So it's a good starting point. I'm guessing in like a month I'll be able to at least double that. So I think that was a pretty successful day at the track for our first try. That's right, I'm following you.
You did awesome.
Thank you. It was really cool.
I've never seen anybody run so fast in my life.
I love being lied to. It was good. I got halfway around, did some warm up, did some sprints. Whew. I am beat. And we are home. I don't want to stand up out of the car. My legs have worked enough today. Did you miss me? Did you miss me? No, we're not going anywhere. Okay, now that I have some carbohydrates in me, I'm feeling much better. So that was so cool to be able to do. I ran, I think, about 150 meters, feet. I don't know. I still didn't get that right. Meters? Feet? It's this one. I looked it up later. I have a long way to go, clearly, but also that's what I was expecting. Like, I expect this to be a journey. I expect it to take a long time before it starts feeling like I'm running normally. Normally, whatever that's gonna mean. But it definitely feels like a little taste of freedom, and I love it. So with that being said, this is a rather vloggy sort of video today. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know if you liked it. I'm definitely gonna be taking you guys on more running adventures in the future. And I'll be honest, there was more things I was probably gonna say, but I feel like running has zapped my brain of the power to put words together. So we're gonna leave it here. Thank you so much to my patrons over on Patreon for supporting these videos. I truly cannot thank you enough for everything that you do for me. And to you watching this video, thank you so much for spending a few minutes out of your day here with me today. You could be anywhere in the world doing absolutely anything, and you chose to hang out with me for a few minutes and watch me run rather ineffectively, but I was running, and that means a lot to me, so thank you. I love you guys, I'm thinking about you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.
Have heard from the sky all about it. Down the river, high tide flows around it. Through the whispers of pines, I hear them sing. The more you love, the more you live.
Discapacidad Televisión.
¡Hola mundo!
Primer canal de televisión dedicado al colectivo de personas con discapacidad desde 2006.
¡Hola mundo!
Hola, bienvenidos a Discapacidad Televisión. Recuerda suscribirte para no perderte los últimos estrenos y programas en vivo. Danos un me gusta, y así nos ayudarás a conocerte mejor, y saber qué programación es tu favorita. Por favor, no te olvides de compartir, así, más personas podrán disfrutar de Discapacidad Televisión y toda su programación.
¡Hola, mundo!
Muchas gracias.